technological invasion of the nervous system of the human being has caused people to accelerate too fast or to promote the future rather than live in the present. God is in the present, that's biblically speaking, and many religious speaking saying God is in the present time, omnipresent. So futuristic thinking to try to create technological advancement for tomorrow is only built with the ideas of today. But as technology tries to advance itself about tomorrow and getting everyone think about tomorrow rather than in the moment with God, causes a trans reduction of limitation of thought in the present moment. In other words, if you are always looking at tomorrow, you can't change today. Today is where it all happens. The moment is where it happens. When you forget presence or God in the moment, all's life is gone. Truth is diminished. Now, I'm not talking about holy roller, you got to go to church God. I'm talking about God inside the human being, the living Christ, the living God. That's what mysticism, Christianity is all about. God as a soul being within the self that has a relationship with a higher being called God. Going to church is wonderful. Going to the temple is wonderful. Going to the mosque is wonderful. The synagogue is wonderful. All is a part of rituals. Ritualistic aspects of God are excellent because they promulgate change between the identification of the physical form, the body, and the entity aspect of the self, which is the soul. Yet, this practice must be carried out in the world more and more. As more and more identify with the soul essence or the soul being, we start to change the earth more, living in the present time, rather than tomorrow about technology. We must realize that technology is not the antidote to life. It is the antidote of better communication, better identification of a medium which causes people to relate easier, communication, monetary values, sharing ideas, yet it's accelerated. In other words, it's fast. And in that fast speed, that causes the dopaminergic and the noradrenaline and sulfur to accelerate in the left cerebral hemisphere. This causes changes in the body. And it causes neural, immunological weaknesses because the present time is deficited and futuristic living is the cadence to live for tomorrow. In other words, chase an idea for tomorrow instead of live today. We have been making Western civilization ideation excessive in power. We're misusing God's power in the present time. We must change some of that to de-accelerate and change this momentous acceleration that's causing friction. How do we know this? Well, look at the world after COVID. Look at how confused people are. Look at how some of them are scared. Look at it, how many of them still wear a mask. Look at the catastrophic events on the earth accelerating, volcanoes, hurricanes, tsunamis. They're picking up faster. We're doing that. Our acceleration between humanity, which is a conduit for God onto the earth, is trying to accelerate rather than live in the present. Think of a car. Think of you're in first gear. Think of you're going 7,000 RPMs. You look at the needle or you look at the gauge and it's in the red zone. It stays in the red zone too long. What happens? the car blows up. The car gets a problem, and it starts to choke, basically, and it overheats. That's what happens to the body. The same thing when you're always, what's happening tomorrow? A guy came yesterday. He's a Hispanic man who cuts grass. So he'll show up at my house every once in a while to cut the grass. Well, he showed up yesterday and cut my own grass. And so, but the neighbor's was real long, so I referred him to the neighbor. But in the time, he said that his wife died from the last time to this time. And when he would come previously, he was on acceleration, like he couldn't get enough, like he was too fast. His eyes were bugging out of his head. He was always hyper. And if he was doing a mow job, he did it very fast. And the last time he mowed the lawn, he chopped down a couple nice plants of mine. And I thought, well, I'm not going to use him. He's not even in his own body. He's not, his mind is ahead of himself. And then his wife died. And, I gave him sympathies and whatnot. Yet he looked like he was in his body. He was more grounded. And for some reason, the male in him, the sperm in him, kept accelerating too fast, trying to be in front of his wife. Well, then she passes. And all of a sudden, he's looking normal in his eyes. His eyes aren't bugging out. He's standing real still. He's not vibrating cockiness excess, which is interesting because that's what happens in relationships. One's trying to go fast, one's trying to go slow. And unless they're on time, they don't live in the present time. And this is the trick of society and the trick within the home a lot of times. So the idea is to study yourself to see if you're too accelerated. And if you are, you're not helping the world. And if you are, you're only feeding technology and pseudo-chemistry. That's not the future. The future, Thomas Edison and a few others said the healing would be light and sound. And if you check out ancient literature and whatnot, you'll find that there was some individuals that would raise big blocks for the pyramids and whatnot with sound. They would lift these 2-ton blocks with sound. So, but we make a big crane, a machine, and we praise that excessively instead of harnessing the laws of God and utilizing them for less pollution. These big old tanks they make, cranes and whatnot, they take gas, and in order to make that gas, you got to rip up the earth's oil and mix it with petroleum and filter it, and then here comes gas. And we keep doing that. Well, if you're Mother Earth and someone keeps doing that to you, how would you feel? Would you like it if, someone just came and picked at you and pulled you apart every day? No, you would erupt. You'd get mad. You'd create a volcano. You'd say, hey, stop it. But people don't think that way. They don't think, except for a few like me, because we're nature people instead of computer people. We're neurodivergent. And what we do is we think. We're like, where is safety? Well, it's within the self. And then as we get safety within the self, we can see and identify with the differences between the world's chaos and the self. And people like myself that do that, we want a more harmonic world, a more peaceful world, a world that is less chaotic. There's always going to be some form of inharmonics or influence or chaos, but if it's decelerated and slowed down and we start to think between ourselves and feel between ourselves, we start creating a new earth. We create a new identification. So check yourself out. Note when you're too accelerated and slow it down. It starts with the breath. Breath is the key. Breath is the borrowed energy, the biggest borrowed energy that man and woman has from God. Breath. See, I just breathe a few times, you can feel that peace. That's emanating from my heart, between my heart and my mind. You can feel it right through this electromagnetic system. So remember to breathe. Remember, right at your own doorstep is your nose, and your nose is the guiding force of breath. It is the sense organ of safety. It is the sense organ of present time. That's why all the masters mastered their breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth, gets rid of more CO2. In through the nose deep, into the belly and out, gets rid of more CO2. It is the CO2 that causes the backlog. The CO2 that builds up stores in the fat cells. You want to lose weight? Start deep breathing. You want to feel better? Get rid of the CO2. You want to slow down a little bit? Get in parasympathetic rather than sympathetic overdrive. That fast is sympathetic overdrive, or it's the nervous system in the middle of the back. The sympathetics. They're the alternating current. Fast, slow, hot, cold, all, none. Computers are all none thinking, unless you drive yourself into a new space and hold that space as you talk through the computer. Otherwise, you're allowing a computer to manipulate your beta brain, which is the one that's first programmed in the medulla oblongata between the lower brain, hindbrain, and the first chakra. And if you want to change it, you start mastering your breath or start breathing more so you can get more consciously aware of your space. Oh, I'm the one that's going fast. Oh, the world's got all this noise, but I can slow down. Tune into the locust, tune into the trees, but still the activity's going on with the traffic. But if my mind's stuck in beta, that traffic noise becomes irritating. But if I'm tuned into myself, I can hear that noise but not be affected by it. This is learning to master the self. This is learning to take care of the self. This is learning how to relate to yourself more as a soul rather than your senses. The key to acceleration is not technology. The key for acceleration is knowing yourself, knowing that you're a part of God, knowing you're a piece of God, knowing you're a soul, and knowing that your job is to make yourself safe and peaceful. And build it into happy, and build the happy into joy, and build the joy into bliss.